Another gift of my widowhood was learning to be self-aware. I never wanted to know myself this well. Not at all. I have learned things about myself that were completely unknown to me, actually. Why? Because I didn't have someone else to bounce off of anymore. It was just me. And you know that part of the day at the end of the night when it's just you? Who else is there but just you? And those are the times when we have the opportunity to learn who we are. Did you want it? No. Do you have it? Yes. And that is the time when you say to yourself, who am I? Scary question, right? Because you used to be a partnership. You used to be part of a whole. You think of yourself as this whole. All right, I had a career, I ran a business. I thought of myself as a whole person before my husband died. And then he died and I thought, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel like half? I wouldn't have told you before he died that I was a half. I would have said that I was a whole. But when he died, for the first time in my life, I felt less than. Less than I was. And I felt incapable of finding another part. I felt like, how do you fill in that half? If you rip yourself in half, and now I have only one arm, I'm like, how do you grow another? How do you do that? And what I discovered was I had to look inside. And I didn't want to. Because it was really painful, dark, and ugly, scary in there. But slowly, I was able to start looking inside. But I'll tell you where else I looked. At you. Because I found a mirror in another widowed person who was able to be that other I need somebody to bounce something off of. I need a wall. And once I found a wall, it wasn't that I felt complete. It was that I found somebody who got it and who could be a reflection for me. I could throw things against the wall. I could tell her all kinds of things that were really ugly and horrible, which I won't repeat here, though you probably would like it. And it gave me the opportunity to start to say, who am I? And to be not afraid of what that answer was. So again, we come back to the concept of unimaginable. When I felt like I had only one arm, I couldn't imagine how to grow another. Could not imagine how to grow another. When somebody said to me, you're going to find another husband. You'll be all right. I was like, okay, I'm going to kill you. I'm sure that lots of people would have been in my murderous spree had I actually been capable. Unimaginable. I couldn't imagine that. And so if we go back to the concept of unimaginable is impossible, if I had grasped that, if I had believed that unimaginable and impossible were indeed the same thing, what doors would I have closed for myself? But what taught me that unimaginable and impossible were not the same thing was death. Ironic that it was the death of my husband that taught me that those two concepts are not the same as. They can't be, because I couldn't have imagined him dying, and he did. I couldn't have imagined that the fence could somehow find a way to restruct itself, and it did. I couldn't have imagined that I would be able to get out of bed day after day after day. And on the days when I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't think about the next day because I didn't want to imagine how many days I might be in bed. But over and over again, I was able to imagine just a little bit. And so what I want to talk to you about today, we're going to be going out into these rooms to see some amazing speakers. When you're in those rooms, I would love it if you could cheer for them, because they are here as volunteers. They are here because they love this concept. They are here because they want to reach out to people like you. Most of them are also here because they have lived this. They know. They know what it's like. And so when you're in those rooms, realize that you're going to be first well taken care of. Secondly, you're going to be challenged. This weekend is about challenge. It's about challenging you to be more than you think right now you're capable of. Because I guarantee you, you are. You are capable of being more than you think you can. You are capable of growing another arm. And I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And maybe some of you already know, yep, I got both my arms. Do you have both your legs? So it's a matter of growing back. And what does that person look like? Someone said to me, do you think that you're back to where you were? I was like, no. I'm never going to be back to where I was because there's no going back. That woman did not know this pain. And that person over there would not be this person right here, I can tell you right now. You'd all be doing step right now. So I could not imagine getting to the point where I was capable. And thank God it's not impossible. Because I felt like it was impossible for sure. And if you told me, a month after my husband was dead, that I'd be standing in front of all of you talking about it, I'd be like, yeah, right. I can't even stand up. Are you kidding me? But because it is not impossible, just because you can't imagine it right now does not mean it doesn't exist. So hold on to that thought. Because you can't see it right now doesn't mean it can't happen. And you know why you know that? Because you couldn't imagine being widowed. Because you couldn't imagine being widowed, you know I'm right. You know that the unimaginable is indeed possible. That it is possible to take something that totally changed your life into something you did not want and create something good and positive. I'm going to say it again. You had been placed in a place that you would never have chosen. And we can go from there to create something good and positive. And I know that you don't want it. I don't want it. I did not want to be here today. And I can't imagine anywhere else I would rather be. Because you guys are amazing. And you got in trouble at the concert last night? By the way, I want you to know that I got an email complaint at 11:30 last night for your behavior. Awesome! You go! I was like, you're kidding me. She looked us up. She looked me up. Madam Director. I was like, oh, who is that? Not me. I was all, yes. I want you all to know who weren't there last night, that the whole entire back row of widows was standing up. The rest of the symphony was sitting quietly. We're all, woo-hoo! It was amazing. But what's that? Is that imaginable? Would you have been able to imagine getting busted at a Spectrum Sings concert? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have been given these gifts. We didn't choose this course, but every single day you have a choice about what to do next. And I think the biggest challenge is being willing to take that opportunity. Because in some ways it feels wrong. Like, oh, does that mean I've moved on? Does that mean I've gotten over it? Have you gotten over it yet? Oh yeah, long ago. We're never going to get over it. There's never going to be a day when you didn't wish that person were still in your life alive. But that doesn't mean that we can't move forward in a positive way. And I think it's the absolute best thing you can do to honor the person you loved. Because we have an opportunity they don't have. And that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, the sun rises and you have an opportunity. And we can take the opportunity or we not take the opportunity. That's our choice. But daily, it's a choice. And I know some days are harder than others. And some days it's like, yeah, right. I'm not making any choices today. And those days are necessary. But the most important thing that you can do is say to yourself, unimaginable and impossible are not the same thing. Because I can't imagine a better day does not mean a better day is impossible. Because I can't imagine a life without the person I love that I have lost does not mean that I can't find a future ahead of me somewhere. Does that mean that that future includes another person? Everybody wants to know that question. So you're going to get remarried? Are you dating yet? And why is that? Because the people who love us want us to be better. And better is moved on, gotten over it. All of those things. But what they don't understand, they haven't lived this experience, they don't know that the best thing we can do is weave that loss in. Just like I love that story. Because you don't want to eat it. Does anybody want to do this? No. But the only way to survive is to weave it into who you are and take the person you can never be again and recreate that person to be a person that you like. That you like. It is not about the person you lost. Would he like me today? Would he choose me today? I don't know. But it's not about that, because guess what? He doesn't have a choice. I'll tell you a horrible story, just because it's fun. My husband was cremated, and I don't know why, but I had this terror that someone was going to take him. Like, pick him up and away he goes. And so I locked him in a safe. For 3 years. And my brother-in-law once said to me, he was really an outdoorsy guy. He doesn't want to be in the safe. And you know what I said to him? Then he shouldn't have died. Because it wasn't about him, right? It was not about him. It was what I needed. And I knew the day that it was time to let him go. And it wasn't that it wasn't hard, but I knew it was time. But until that day, he was staying in the safe, and I only had the combination. The funniest thing is I sent my sister to get the safe, and she's like, I'm like, I need a safe. What are you going to put in it? Phil. My family loves me. Lucky for me. But what you have is the opportunity to choose. I know, he was locked in the safe. I couldn't help it. But what you have is the opportunity to take those moments and realize it's not about whether or not they would like you. And you know what? As many times as people have said to me, Phil would be so proud of you. I hope that's true. But what needs to happen is I need to be proud of myself. Because at the end of the day, I'm what's left. Like it or not. I don't have a choice. And I can pretend all day long if I want. I could have a, imaginary friend. I do kind of a little, I'll admit. But at the end of the day, it's still, my imaginary friend doesn't talk. As many times as I wish I could say to him, what do I do about the damn fence? There's no answer. And so I have to say to myself, what do I do about the fence? And I am capable of answering that question, as are all of you. And as many times as we say to ourselves, am I doing the right thing? Is this what he would done? Is this what she would done? Would she have handled it this way? I don't know if I would have chosen that if someone else had been there to choose with me. If someone else is not there to choose with you, it's all about you. And I know that sometimes that's the most painful part, right? That it's all about you. That it used to be all about a couple. That you used to be able to make these decisions together. That you used to have these other opportunities. And even when, if, however, the future brings another relationship, here's a challenge. Oh, you're all better. Right? You remarried. That guy, what was his name? Because people assume that means that you've gotten over it. You're over it if you have a new relationship. And I'll tell you what, it's hard. It's hard. And why is it hard? Because I'm asking myself, am I being disloyal? Is this okay? Should I? Should I not? I don't know. Who am I going to ask? How do you feel about me dating? He didn't answer.